Yesterday was the worst day of the president's life ever. This according to one Obama lackey who is convinced the Manafort conviction and Cohen plea create enough blood in the water for sharky Democrats that they can finally put an end to his dying presidency. And then, in this fantasy that doesn't even require Russian collusion or Putin's string pulling, Hillary is instated as the rightful 45th president of the United States. Well, isn't that a fancy yarn that's nowhere near knit? The reality is, of all the unforced foibles and reportedly mortal wounds the president has taken or self-inflicted, Cohen's guilt may be more potent than Charlottesville and Helsinki, but doesn't quite have the punch of the finality of the Access Hollywood tapes, and what they promised but never delivered, that death blow. The president's digital incontinence often causes unnecessary damage, and Lord knows he can pick some real stinkers like Manafort, Omarosa, and Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. But within the pathological flagellation, there's also an indescribable resilience. This will never be replicated by another politician as long as we live, and the president's flaws are as apparent as his wealth and are baked into the casserole Americans are willing to snack on as long as the economy is good. Even Nancy Pelosi is hesitant to use the I word, as she knows impeachment both rallies swamp-hating independents and Trump voters, and could sink her chances of ascending once again to another worn-out speakership. She also knows a Pence presidency is the opposite of what the most strident, foamy-mouthed resistors actually want, as the former congressman is far more conservative than any president of the modern era. And President Pence would make Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon look like Democratic socialists by comparison. It's fun to see the left in a lather while Trump loyalists try and rationalize away potentially serious developments, knowing if Democrats impeach Trump and get what they wish for, a Pence presidency would actually be their worst nightmare. And that's the memo. President Trump has brushed off Cohen's guilty plea and the payment to Stormy Daniels. He has a new interview airing on Fox and Friends tomorrow morning. Here's a sneak peek of what President Trump says about the payments.
They didn't come out of the campaign. They came from me, and I tweeted about it. You know, I don't know if you know, but I tweeted about the payments. But they didn't come out of campaign. In fact, my first question when I heard about it was, did they come out of the campaign? Because that could be a little dicey. And they didn't come out of the campaign, and that's big. But they weren't. It's not even a campaign violation.
I hope to someday be so wealthy I have no idea if I'm paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to porn stars. There's a lot we still don't know, but even if Cohen's guilty plea comes back to bite the president, could the left fare any better if they get an impeachment and Vice President Pence takes the oath? The panel is here to discuss. She's an attorney and executive director of the Lawfare Project. Brooke Goldstein is here, along with campus reform editor-in-chief. It's Lawrence Jones, and he's an economics professor at Trinity College. Ed Stringham. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
So this is always the funniest thing ever. It's days like yesterday and today where you can hear the excitement, the gleefulness. It's something that will naturally tear the country apart. But there are Democrats who so want to bring down the president, they haven't even considered the consequences.
Yeah, it's really repulsive how you have Democrats, you have the so-called liberal media frothing at the mouth saying, finally, we got him, we got him. You didn't get him on anything. There are no campaign finance violations. There has been no trial. There has been no verdict. What you have is the DOJ stepping on the neck of Cohen and his attorney, who might as well be a Democratic hack, advising him apparently to plead to a crime that he didn't commit. If Trump paid back Cohen, there is no violation. Trump can use as much of his personal money that he wants to fund anything that he wants, okay? It didn't come out of the campaign. Number two, campaign finance laws were never meant to be read so broadly. If entering into a non-disclosure agreement is a violation of campaign finance regulations, nobody running for office could ever do business. Yeah. Could the DNC, as Mark Levin said, enter into an NDA with any of its employees? Would that be? It's too tenuous.
Yeah, but man.
Well, look.
Porn stars, huh, Lawrence?
Yeah, we always knew that there was some shady business with the president and porn stars. I think the American people knew, as you brilliantly put in your monologue, they knew what they were getting. Here's the problem. No one is disputing on the right that Manafort is shady. He's establishment. He's always been involved in shady business. My problem.
I wonder what he said to get into the campaign, though. I wonder what he said that was so convincing that everyone involved in the campaign was able to overlook what was easily
They
Googled.
thought it was going to be a brokered convention at the time. Still bad strategy, but they thought that he was the most experienced to do that. My problem with how the federal government is doing this is the fact that he's a target to squeeze him to get to the president. And I'm sorry, that's a slippery slope for our justice system to target political opponents just to put pressure on someone else. If they were just attacking him and going after him for his financial crimes, I would totally be fine with that. But that's not what they're doing.
All right, what are they doing?
It's this open-ended warrant where they say, we know you've done something.
Right.
We don't know what it is, but we're going to find the evidence.
Ethical.
And we're going to catch you.
Right.
And now we're going to prosecute you for taxes before the election, which had nothing to do with our initial investigation.
Yeah, but I'm still surprised. Like, I understand that Paul Manafort has done some bad things. And bad people who do bad things have to pay for their crimes. I totally get that.
Yep.
But how does that have anything to do with Russia?
That's right. So you throw the book at people, and then they say, okay, we're going to have to admit guilt, or in this case, found guilt. In Cohen's case, okay, now he's now potentially turning on the president. So it's this anti-justice mentality that you can just throw the book at everybody, and then finally they're gonna cave.
If you have enough money and enough time and enough people working on it, you can find crimes.
And the weight of the entire U.S. government. I mean, you said it. What you have here is Russia collusion charges basically led to a blank check to stalk everyone and anyone who have anything to do with Trump, raid his personal attorney's office, seize all of his personal effects, seize the records of his children, okay, and then put him in a position where we're going to, get you to admit to a crime you did not commit in order to pressure you to give something up.
Yeah, and like I said with Molly Hemingway at the top of the show, most politicians, if they were going to resign, it's because they're worried about their political future. The president is not going to resign. No. That's what separates him. Right now, he's not going to resign. He's not going to let them win. And he's
going to take it all the way.
Yeah.
All the way. He has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He's rich. He's rich.
I mean, if this is the most they can find on him, I mean, it's actually pretty pitiful.
Maybe Mueller has something else.
They didn't find anything on him.
We don't know yet, but we shall see.
The
panel they will definitely not leak. They are a vault, and they're coming back. Coming up. All right, so if these tariffs jack up the prices on stuff Americans buy every day and use every day, why would anyone be okay with them? You need parts from other countries, a lot of times China, and they love ducks. They just squeeze the life out of them, then shove them into your pillows. The panel is back. Brooke Goldstein, Lawrence Jones, and Ed Stringham. Ed, I will start with you. Take us to school with your economics deep well.
I've got this great idea. Let's increase taxes on American consumers. Let's increase taxes on American corporations. All the goods we buy are going to be more expensive. American companies are going to have to pay more. But taxes sound bad, so let's call them tariffs.
Yes.
It's going to be perfect. Now, tit for tat, American companies wanting to sell in other places, they're going to be taxed more. They're going to be able to have to shut down their factories. It's going to be so good.
And that means that American goods in China are going to be more expensive. And if you're a bike company like Trek, you're going to have to charge more money. I mean, it's basic economics. If your materials cost more, you can't just shrink your margins and hope for the best.
We were having this debate in the green room about why we buy from China anyway, because it's cheaper. Yeah. That's why. I mean, I'm a patriot. I love America, but at the end of the day, I got to worry about my bottom line. And when I look at my checkbook and I look at the American-made product, no offense, I'm going to go with the Chinese product as long as I can get the same thing done.
Yeah, it's nice when there's a Made in the USA sticker. There's no
totally
doubt about it.
Love
but
it.
It doesn't always see
Exactly.
And even the American corporation is using inputs from all over the globe. And when you tax
you
those
have no choice.
inputs,
Exactly.
you're hurting the American companies.
That's the point. Like, the tariffs are meant to change consumer behavior. They are supposed to make things
That's
coming
communism.
from China
That's
more
communism.
expensive.
That's social engineering.
So that consumer behavior then is influenced.
That's
to
Bernie
buy
Sanders'
things.
logic. That's why Bernie
I'm just
Sanders
saying
likes tariffs.
that's what it's supposed
It's,
to do.
that's big
it's
government.
not okay when it comes to healthcare. It's certainly not okay when it comes to the free market. The free market needs freedom in order to
And
be
that's
free.
not the people
right?
that elected this president either. So I wonder how he's going to explain to the people, the same people.
It just at some point, it's got to work. Someone's
And
got
it's
to
not.
pull the
But
trigger.
there are
Right now,
companies
it's not working.
that are
This
gonna
cannot
benefit from
happen
it.
long term. I don't know if that's true because when you're building
like
things
Southwire,
like computers,
that testified that they are for the tariffs.
delightful.
Any-
Ed, Lawrence, Brooke, amazing. Like a rainbow of goodness. Topical storm is next.